Isaac Newton was an English physicist, mathematician, and astronomer who is widely regarded as one of the most influential scientists in history. He was born on January 4, 1643, in Woolsthorpe, Lincolnshire, England. His father, also named Isaac Newton, died 3 months before his birth. His mother, Hannah Ayscough, remarried when he was 3 years old, and Newton was left in the care of his grandmother. Newton was not a particularly successful student in his early years. He was a solitary and introspective child who preferred to spend his time reading books rather than socializing with his peers. However, he displayed a remarkable aptitude for mathematics, and at the age of 18, he enrolled at Trinity College, Cambridge. At Cambridge, Newton studied mathematics and developed his theories on calculus, optics, and gravity. His work on calculus was groundbreaking, and it allowed him to solve complex mathematical problems that had previously been impossible to solve. In 1665, during a period of self-isolation due to the Great Plague of London, Newton made significant breakthroughs in the field of optics. He discovered that white light was composed of different colors and developed the first reflecting telescope. In 1687, Newton published his most famous work, the Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, commonly known as the Principia. In this book, Newton laid out his 3 laws of motion and the law of universal gravitation. These laws revolutionized the field of physics and provided a framework for understanding the motion of celestial bodies. Newton's work in mathematics and physics earned him numerous honors and awards. In 1689, he was elected a Member of Parliament for the University of Cambridge, and in 1703, he was appointed President of the Royal Society, a position he held until his death. He was also knighted by Queen Anne in 1705. Despite his many achievements, Newton was not without controversy. He was known for his difficult personality and had a long-standing feud with fellow mathematician Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz over who had invented calculus first. Newton was also deeply involved in the political and religious debates of his time. He was a devout Christian and wrote extensively on biblical prophecy, but his unorthodox views on the Trinity and the divinity of Christ led to criticism from some religious leaders. Newton died on March 31, 1727, at the age of 84. He was buried in Westminster Abbey, and his tomb bears the inscription, "Here lies Isaac Newton, knight, who by a strength of mind almost divine, and mathematical principles peculiarly his own, explored the course and figures of the planets, the paths of comets, the tides of the sea, and the dissimilarities in rays of light." Isaac Newton was a brilliant scientist and mathematician whose work laid the foundation for modern physics. His laws of motion and universal gravitation are still used today to understand the behavior of objects in space. Despite his difficult personality and controversial views, Newton's contributions to science and mathematics have had a lasting impact on the world. Isaac Newton was a man of great wisdom and insight, and his words continue to inspire and inform us today. If I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. This quote speaks to the idea that progress in science and other fields is not achieved in a vacuum, but is built on the work of those who came before. Newton was acknowledging the debt he owed to his predecessors in mathematics and science, such as Galileo and Kepler, whose ideas and discoveries he had built upon. Tact is the art of making a point without making an enemy. This quote speaks to the importance of diplomacy and tact in human interactions. Newton recognized that it was possible to communicate one's ideas and opinions effectively without causing offense or creating animosity. This is a valuable lesson for anyone who wants to be an effective communicator and collaborator. I can calculate the motion of heavenly bodies, but not the madness of people. This quote speaks to Newton's humility and his recognition that human behavior is complex and unpredictable. Despite his great achievements in science and mathematics, he was aware of the limitations of his knowledge and understanding when it came to the behavior of people. We build too many walls and not enough bridges. This quote is often interpreted as a call for greater collaboration and unity between people and nations. Newton recognized the importance of breaking down barriers and working together to achieve common goals, whether in science, politics, or other areas of life. Gravity explains the motions of the planets, but it cannot explain who set the planets in motion. God governs all things and knows all that is or can be done. This quote speaks to Newton's deep religious faith and his belief in a divine creator. Despite his scientific achievements, he remained convinced that the workings of the universe were ultimately the result of God's handiwork. This quote also illustrates the tension between science and religion that was present in Newton's time and continues to this day. These quotes from Isaac Newton offer insight into his character, his scientific and mathematical achievements, and his philosophical and religious beliefs. They remind us of the continuing relevance of his ideas and the impact he has had on our understanding of the world. We appreciate your support in watching our videos. If you enjoy learning about political, business, writer and science leaders' biographies and quotes, please consider subscribing to our channel and giving us a thumbs up to help us grow and continue bringing you valuable content.